tired, foggy and bloated, not once in a while but most days. You wake up already worn out, and by the afternoon the fog rolls in, and by the evening you feel that swollen, strange stomach. If that's your day every single day, then these three are almost certainly not three separate problems. They're one story showing up as three different things. And there's a name for it that ties them all together. You're probably chasing each one on its own, something for the energy, something for thinking clearly, something for the bloating. And when the three things keep coming back together, no matter what you try, that's usually the clue. You're not fighting three problems, you're fighting one root that's surfacing in three different ways. That root has a clinical name. In everyday language, we call it leaky gut. But in the research, it's called intestinal hyperpermeability. Let me explain what that actually means, because it's simpler than it sounds. Your gut lining is meant to be a careful gatekeeper. It lets nutrients through the wall and it keeps everything else out. When the tiny junctions between those cells loosen and they become open, that's called leaky gut. And these things crossing into your bloodstream, they were never meant to be there. They're toxins and bad bacteria. Now, this isn't fringe theory. The science on this is proven to be real. A 2026 study in Frontiers in Medicine journal found that intestinal permeability actually tracked with how severe people's chronic fatigue was. The leakier the barrier, the worse they felt. And in a study by Mays and colleagues, they found increasing gut permeability in both fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue patients, along with something called bacteria translocation. That's a mouthful, isn't it? But it basically means fragments of bacteria called LPS, where they slip through the barrier, in the loosened barrier, and into the blood. And here's why it matters for you, because those fragments get through. Your immune system doesn't ignore them. It treats them as a threat. It switches on the inflammation in your body throughout your whole body. And that low, constant black background inflammation, it's the thread that connects everything to the way you feel. So let's walk through the symptom by symptom. First, the fatigue. That's inflammation connected, and it reaches right down to the lower level of your cells, the mitochondria, those little engines that make energy. When you're dealing with that inflammation all day, it simply can't produce enough energy the way they should. You're not lazy and you're not imagining it. There's a reason for it. Your engine system is working in overdrive on multiple tasks at once every day. Second, the fog. The same inflammation signals travel up to your brain. On top of that, a huge amount of your neurotransmitter production is actually in your gut. And if your gut's inflamed and struggling, that production disrupts the whole system and your thinking turns cloudy and slow. Third, the bloating. This is the most visible sign of all. It's the outward signal that the barrier and the bacteria living behind it are generally struggling to keep the order, and your body and that microbiome is the issue. It's sometimes labeled as SIBO, dysbiosis, or food sensitivities, but the core of it is leaky gut, intestinal hyperpermeability. Picture a paper coffee filter that's developed a few tiny tears in the paper. Most of the time it does its job, but little by little coffee grounds slip through those cracks into you, and that's your gut lining, and they go into your blood. Not because it's broken, it's just no longer sealing completely. It only takes a little leaking to keep the inflammation switched on. Now, here's the part that often gets missed, because these signals rarely get linked back to the gut at all. And yet once you see the connections, it becomes obvious. A list of food reactions that keep getting longer. Oh, I can't eat that, I can't eat that. A mood that dips lower than it used to. Catching every single cold that goes around. Aching joints, allergies, and sinus issues. And when these show up alongside fatigue and the fog, they're often coming from the very same leaky barrier. So what do most people do? They reach for a coffee to lift the energy, an antacid perhaps for the bloating, and they push through and just keep pushing through. And I understand why. You want relief and you want it now, but actually that's a band-aid approach. Every one of those aims at a symptom, whereas the barrier underneath keeps leaking and keeps the inflammation running. But the fixing the leaky gut is really the core, and the symptoms will be fixed for good. So let's talk about the real direction. In my practice, I use something called the CURA Method. This is a guide, what I'm going to share. It's not a full treatment, but it's really the foundation. A real plan is personalised, and there's far more to each of these than I could possibly fit in one video. So think of it like a map and the first step to your recovery, not the whole journey. CURA stands for calm, use, rest, and add. Calm the gut. Try this. So before anything else, stop re-injuring the barrier every day. That means pulling out the biggest irritants for a short reset. Alcohol, heavy processed seed oils, and too much caffeine. They're common culprits. You can heal a lining, but re-wounding that and making it leaky every day, every morning, it's going to just keep it there. Use demulcent herbs. These are soothing herbs like marshmallow, licorice, and slippery elm that form a gentle protective layer over the gut lining. They're some of the most accessible and safe places to start, which is why I've put a few links in the description down below to help you out. Rest and repair. Try this. Give the lining raw material it needs during the genuine rest period. Like L-glutamine, it's a key factor to repair the cells and rebuild the gut wall. And zinc carcinine, that's been shown to support the barrier tightening back up. Repair happens when your body is calm, not when it's stuck in fight or flight. Add healing factors. This is about rebuilding a good bacteria microbiome, and they guard the barrier. Fermented foods and targeted probiotics like Lactobacillus rhamnosus, and colourful foods, polyphenol-rich plants like green tea that feed the bacteria you want to keep. Those suggestions are just a few of the hundreds because it's more powerful with a personalised prescription. I'd love you to keep learning and never give up because I know you can heal your body with natural medicine. Start with some top herbs for calming the gut, then follow on with the rest and repair protocol. And if you're ready for a full thing, a real thing, that plan built around your story and your history and your body, that's what a comprehensive consult is for. The link is in the description, so please make an appointment. But if you just want to keep on continuing on and learning, then the next video goes deeper and it keeps adding to your learning journey. So please carry on and I'll see you there, healing together.